Levon, and welcome back to my channel. You may have seen that I am doing a mini series on monstrous book recommendations, but today I thought we'd take a different turn into the spooky October vibes and talk about some thriller book recommendations. Now, I am a baby thriller reader, okay? I do not, especially like with movies, I do not handle suspense well. So with books, like movies is up here, and books we like literally don't even go down a whole notch. It's like half of a notch. I am such a baby about it. But I wanted to give you my book recommendations from chillest to most wild, thrilling and suspenseful books. Now, of course, I could talk a mile a minute about mafia romance, but I'm not gonna include, actually, I think I'll give you one that's sort of kind of a mafia, but I tried to stay away from that in this video just because, like, if I was gonna talk about mafia romance, let me make a mafia romance video, you know what I mean? So I've got one mafia romance and then the rest are not. So let's get into it. On a scale of chill to most unhinged book that I've read in the thrilling, suspenseful genre, we're gonna start off with Broken Beginnings by Clary Evans. Now, I recently read this book and I made a collage because I love the book so much, and I even have it as my lock screen. If the glare is on here, I'll put it on the screen, actual screen right here, but I loved this book so much. So the premise of this is that we have the main character. She's lived in a small town all her life. So as an adult, she jets up out of there and goes to the big city. So she's in the big city for like a decade later, and then she witnesses a murder, and she is absolutely terrified, scared for her life. She hightails it right back home, and she's back into this small town place. So there, the murderer has followed her home. So we're trying to figure out who the murderer is. We're trying to make sure she stays safe. And lo and behold, of all the people to help make her safe, it's her old high school bully that ends up not only hiring her, but then wanting to make sure that she's taken care of. So that's got to be the very first book that I recommend to you. It is so cute. If you've read any of Cleo Evans' books before, Clary Evans is their pen name for this particular genre. So Clary and Cleo Evans are the same author. So if you've read any of Cleo's books, you're gonna enjoy this one. Turning up the notch just a little bit, we've got Hooked by Emily McIntire. Now, this entire series is very suspenseful, but I've got to say that out of the 3 that I've read so far, I've read Hooked, Scarred, and Wretched. I know I'm behind. I'm sorry. There's just too many books on my TBR. I love Emily McIntire, and I am gonna get to those books, but out of the first 3, Hooked, I still feel like is the most wildly unhinged. And this is a Peter Pan retelling where Captain Hook gets his girl. I really appreciated the portrayal of PTSD in here, and Captain Hook, our main character, is absolutely delicious. I love the portrayal of the female main character, and I just think that this book, like, once you read it, you're not gonna forget about it. The third book I want to recommend to you, middle of the pack here, is gonna be Make Me Lie by C.R. Jane and May Dawson. This is a series. This is the first book in the series, and it is a college bully romance where the female main character, her dad is a serial pew-pewer, if you get my drift, and it's also a Why Choose book, and the boys are part of this secret society on campus, and then the boys' dads are kind of like, they're not super mafia, like it's not mafia, but they're definitely mafia vibes. So there's a lot going on in this series, and this series kept me up till 4 a.m. Literally, I will not lie to you, 4 a.m. I'm reading like this, trying to figure out what's gonna happen next. So if you are someone who enjoys thriller, suspense, a little bit of smut, this is the book for you. I gotta get turned up for this one. This is Dirty Wicked Prince by Eden O'Neill. This is another series where the first 3 books are about one particular couple. The next 2 books are about another couple. And I believe there's like a few more sets of books coming out within this series. Now, this is a spin-off of, I'll put the cover on the screen. Unfortunately, daggum TikTok, Dirty Wicked Prince is the first book in the spin-off series, and I didn't realize it was a spin-off, and I haven't read the previous books yet because like I technically know what's gonna happen. So I'm trying to wait until I forget a few of the details and then go back so I can still be surprised. But if like, I just want to let you know ahead of time that there is a series that comes before this so that you don't make the same mistake I did. Now, into this book. So Dirty Wicked Prince, we have a brother and sister who have just lost all of their last family member. And so they have a beneficiary who's put them into this new school, in this new home, in this new city. And then the beneficiary dips like out the country. So they're in this house by themselves. They're high schoolers. And so they go to school, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Math. 4. There are 4 boys who like run the school and because of another like secret society, except that this society isn't that secret. In fact, they like flaunt it. So I don't know what to call it. It's a society. It's an exclusive society. That's what I should call it. And so one of the boys from the exclusive society and then the sister, they butt heads immediately. I'm talking, she pulls up to the school on the first day to park her car, and there's already beef. Okay. And so this is another bully romance. Yes, they are in high school, but they are 18. So we're good on that front. And there's a lot of mystery in here. A person has died. They're trying to figure out what the like issues are. There's a granddad who we don't know like is a murderer. Actually, now that I think about it, there's multiple people that died, and we're trying to figure out why did this person die and also who killed this person. There's a lot that happens. There's a lot that happens in these 3 books. And then the next 2, oh my God. The next 2 books, oh my God. When I say hot, I mean HAWT hot. Like, go ahead to the comments and go ahead and say thank you. I'm going to go ahead and say you're welcome so you don't have to come back to this video later. Okay? Read these books. Read these books. Now, this may not be the most unhinged, the most thrilling, the most suspenseful book to you, but remember that I am a baby thriller reader. So this is the most wild book that I personally have ever read, and it's called Until Tomorrow Comes by Adelaide Forrest. This is another series, and this is the one that I was saying technically is a mafia, but I can't leave this book out of the list. I have to put this book in. It's quite something. We have lots of triggers that need to be read, trigger warnings that need to be read, because there are things like forced body modification, and I had never read something like that before, and I did not know that was coming up, and I was like, okay. It starts out that the guy that's in the mafia, he's leading the mafia, he stalks this girl, he decides like, oh, she's mine. He takes her to like this island, she's cut off from everybody, and like in his weird twisted way, he's trying to, because he's the head of the mafia, he needs a wife who's also just as strong and bold and has as tough skin as he does. And so in his mind, he's trying to make her strong because he's already chosen that that's his person. So he needs to make sure that she's also able to hold her own in this new situation and space that he's brought her in. And so like in that way, he's trying to make her safe, but the way that he goes about it, I read this book 2 years ago and I still blatantly remember certain scenes. But hey, like it was a wild story. It was a wild story, but I read the whole thing, which tells you what, it was definitely captivating. It definitely was enjoyable. I was like, I need to know how this all ends. I need to know, where are the cookies going to crumble? How does the sausage get made? There was no putting the books down. it was impossible. It was inconceivable. Okay. If you've caught any of those references, by the way, we are now besties. But this series, I could not stop. I think I stayed up a whole 24 hours. And I'm 30. Okay, so that means I was 28 when I did this. Like, you're no longer, when you get to be past 25, you're no longer in your like stay up all night into the next morning type of deal. Okay, so I stayed up a whole 24 hours to finish this. It's got to be like a big deal. So this was the most thrilling, suspenseful, unhinged book that I have read so far. And I want to recommend it to you if that is your vibe during the month of October. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that I've at least given you one book to add to your TBR. Of course, if you read these books, please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you have any books you think I would enjoy that are thrilling and suspenseful, please let me know down below. Hope that you know you are loved and valued and cared for, not for what you do, but just because you exist. And I hope that you're having an awesome day. Bye.